best car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.
Once again, we have a double format. This is 1370 Talk AM Radio. So if you want to join us, like Don said, you can give us a call, 478-3116. That's 478-3116. If you're watching this on TV, our Blab customers, don't bother calling in. There might be a phone number on the bottom of your screen. That's the dealership phone number, Frontier Motors, where you can join and find out what the value of your car is. And we've been doing this show going on almost 20 years now through 1370 and Blab TV. And we've really been able to help the people in the Pensacola area make sure that when they're in the car market, that they get a good deal. And how do we do this? Well, there's a couple different ways. We've got some things that we brought with us. One of them that we always bring to the radio show is the new car cost guides. And the new car cost guides we get about 7 times a year. And these give us the invoice prices of any new car out there, which might be important if you're going to be in the market for a car. I always get the consumers reports on my desk every month when it comes out. And the back of the consumers reports that has the fact that you can buy an invoice from consumers reports on a brand new car, but they cost about $15 a shot. And the reason they sell that is because they feel that if you know the price of the cost of the car, it might make it a little bit easier for you to get a deal on a car that you're interested in if you're going to buy brand new, because you know what the dealer paid for it. Therefore, you can get some kind of an indication by giving them a somewhat meager profit and be able to save a lot of time off that going back and forth thing that you always do, because you never know if you're getting a good deal or not. Well, if you know you're getting a good deal, you won't have to worry about that. The other thing we bring out with us to the show also is the NADA guidebooks. These are the guidebooks, by the way, that cannot be found on the internet. And these are a little bit different than the NADA on the internet, and also the Kelly Blue Book and the Edmunds. And the reason we use the official guidebook is because that's what our bankers, our credit unions, and also our insurance companies in our area use. So this is a very important book. We had them available to you at the dealership. That'll give you an idea of what a banker will tell you what it's worth, but really what they're saying is what they'll borrow you on a particular car. Because a lot of times what they'll borrow you and what the value of the car is completely different. The third thing we use is more of a reality guidebook, and that is a black wholesale guidebook. And I've got this in my hands right now for your TV viewers, but we really don't subscribe to this book anymore. Matter of fact, the book I'm holding up is a 2014 edition. That's the last time I actually got this book. And one reason is because we get this now on the internet. You've got to be a dealer or a banker to be able to get these values. And I share these values with anybody that comes into the dealership or calls Frontier Motors to give you an idea of what I consider the real value of a car. And if I tell you that the wholesale value, according to the black book, this is what they're running for at the auction, for example, is $20,000. But if the NADA book is $26,000, well, that's a pretty big spread between wholesale and retail. The rule of thumb normally is going to be a dealer's going to mark up a car somewhere around $2,000, maybe $3,000. So if a dealer buys the car at the auction for $20,000 and he's marketing it at the dealership for $23,000, but if the banker says it books out for $26,000, the banker's going to be a little high. And that's where we come in, that if you're in that market, figure out what the real value is by calling Frontier Motors. And if you found a car down the road and it's for sale, we're not going to try to kink the deal. I don't care if it's at a new car dealership, a used car dealership, if it's on Craigslist, or maybe your neighbor's got one for sale. Maybe somebody at work has got a car and they're going to sell it, and you hear that they're going to buy a brand new car and you want to know, well, what should I be paying for that car? That's when you pick up the phone, you call Frontier Motors, you give us a little bit of info on the car by giving us the ID number. Now, the ID number is very, very helpful because I can run a Carfax for you. I can also run an auto check. Those are the largest providers of history reports in the country. Everybody pretty much knows what Carfax is. A lot of people aren't so familiar with auto check. I like running both of them because a lot of times they'll have the same information, but every once in a while, maybe 1 out of 50 times, you'll find some information on auto check that's not on Carfax. It might be something like an accident, might be a recall or something like that. I like running the history reports because it gives me an idea of where the vehicle was registered, how many owners that it had, or at least I don't want to really say how many owners it had because sometimes that's falsified also, where maybe there were 5 titles issued. So you would think in the back of your mind that means there's 5 different owners, but that's not necessarily true. It could be 5 titles, but a lot of times in some states, when the vehicle gets paid off, they issue a new title. So now you're the first owner. I had this happen a while back. This was last year somewhere where a customer told me he bought the car brand new. There were 5 different titles issued on that car. He says, I bought it brand new. But every time he moved to a different state, they issued a new title. So there were 5 different times that he moved. So there are 5 different titles. And the Carfax had 5 owners when it was a one-owner car. You see that commercial every once in a while where the lady says, I only want to look at one-owner cars. Well, she might be shooting herself in the foot because there might be a lot of vehicles out there that are one-owner cars, but they might have 4 or 5 different titles. So these are some of the things that the Carfax shows. At Frontier Motors, we've been advertising that we run free Carfax reports. If you subscribe to a Carfax report, it costs somewhere between $40 and $50. Why not just call Frontier Motors with the ID number? I'll plug it in my computer, and I'll also give you the history report. But my computer also tells me what other vehicles like that are available. It defaults to 150 miles. I can set it to anything. If you're calling on a Ford Focus, there's probably going to be 100 of them available within 150 miles. If you're calling on a Maserati, there might be any. So I'd have to go out 500 miles, maybe 1,000 miles to get a good cross-section of what those cars are selling for. So it tells me that. And it also tells me the average price that the dealers are paying in our area for that particular car. And when I know that, I can go right into the auction reports and get specifically where they're being sold for at a certain price, how many miles on there, and what the condition of the car is. And while we're talking about condition, I want to make sure that people know that the condition is probably the most important thing when it comes to pricing a car. And a lot of the books don't ask you about condition. I know a lot of times the bankers don't ask you about condition. They just book it out and say it's a 2013 Ford Focus with 37,000 miles. It's got a clean retail of $17,500 and a wholesale of $13,000. And that's all the questions they ask. They never ask you how many owners, has there been an accident, has it got a clean history report, what color is the car, does it stink, does it smell, has it been smoked in? These are all things that obviously are a big factor when you buy a used or a new car. Again, this is 1370 Talk Radio. If you want to join us, 478-3116. That's 478-3116. I can give you the value of your vehicle. I can kind of wing it. If it's an old vehicle, the books go back about 20 years. If you got an older one, I can just do it based on experience. I got in the car business when I was 15 years old as a janitor, worked myself up to opening our own lot right here in Pensacola. Moved from Milwaukee about 22 years ago. Ran a dealership up there and decided that I don't want to have anything to do with franchises. We ran a big franchise dealership up there, and I got tired of the franchise telling you what to do. So at that point, we decided to be an independent dealer. We started out with about 30 cars. I saw on my computer when I logged in here at 1370 Talk Radio that we have 407 cars in inventory, $8.5 million worth of cars. And the reason I bring that up is because wouldn't it be nice to go to one location and look at just about every make and model? So if you're in the car market and you're really not sure what you want, let's say you want a mid-size SUV, but you're really not sure if you want a Chevy Traverse, maybe an Acadia, maybe you want the Buick Enclave, how about maybe the Lincoln MKT or MKX, maybe if you flip over to a Cadillac, you got the SRX right there, and then there's probably 30 or 40 different ones that would be a mid-size SUV, including a Ford Explorer, and the list goes on and on. Well, if you're looking at, let's say, 10 different makes and models, you got to go to 10 different dealerships. You're going to have to meet 10 salespeople. You're probably going to have to talk to 10 managers before you get out of there. You know how that program goes. They're all going to try to put the squeeze on you to buy a car right then and there. I don't know why that is so popular these days. To make sure you buy right then and there. And I guess the reason they do that is because they're afraid you're going to go across the street and find a car you like better and buy it from them. At Frontier Motors, you can look at all 10 vehicles. Our salespeople unlock every single one of those 407 cars every morning so you can sit in them without a salesman running back and forth getting a key. You know the reason that most dealerships keep their cars locked is because they want that salesman to have to work for you. You know, talking is not really work. But running back and forth and getting keys, now that's some work when it's 95 degree to 107 degree heat index out there. They're sweating and sweating. Guess what that does? It makes you feel obligated that maybe you should buy from that guy because he's working so hard. We don't want you to feel obligated that you have to buy from Frontier Motors. We want you to want to buy a car from Frontier Motors. So we make it very simple for you. Unlock every car every morning. Hand you a price list if you want one. So you got the price of every car on the lot. You'll know exactly what we're asking for. You don't have to go on the internet to get it. We'll hand it to you, and they're all in alphabetical order. We'll tell you if that's the bottom line price or not. Sometimes they're marked at the lowest price possible. Sometimes I've got a little bit of leeway, but within a matter of minutes, what I pride myself at Frontier Motors doing is being able to give you an out-the-door figure. Now, the reason that out-the-door figure is so important is because dealers charge different fees. I saw one dealer down the road, he charges an electronic filing fee. Most dealerships charge a dock fee. Some dealers charge a battery tax and a tire tax. Some dealerships don't. The taxes are all the same. You can't mess with taxes, and you can't mess with the tag money. Now, some dealers like us, we guess that the tag transfer is $185, but it's a very weird process that you have to go through to find out exactly what that is from the motor vehicle department, because it depends on the weight of the car, your birth date, and there's other factors that are included. So we guess at $185. Of course, that's a high guess, so you'd be getting money back if it's only $150, but we give you an out-the-door figure. And I always say that if you are going to go to a dealership that's not willing to give you an out-the-door price in writing, my suggestion is go somewhere else. And it's almost the same thing with when we talk about warranties on the Frontier Motor Show here. We warranty every vehicle that's a 2007 and newer. It has less than 100,000 miles. We give you a 5-year warranty from the date of today, not from when it was built. 5 years from the date. On top of the miles that are on the car, we give you another 100,000 miles on a warranty on a drivetrain at no charge. That's included in every vehicle that we sell. And if the vehicle is older than that or more miles than that, we give you a 3-month, 3,000-mile drivetrain. If you are talking to a dealer that marks their cars as is, my suggestion is you walk out. If they don't feel confident enough in their product to at least give you even a 1-month warranty, I would think that they're hiding someone or they're scared that the vehicle might not make it a month. So therefore, my suggestion is you don't buy from a dealer that sells their cars as is. You get at least some type of a warranty, even if it's just on the drivetrain, so you know you're not buying a car with a bad motor, a bad transmission, a bad rear end. These are things that are real important. And I always go back to the story a young lad told me about 2 years ago. He went to a major dealer on a Saturday afternoon here in Pensacola. Obviously, I'm not going to name the dealership, but he bought a pickup truck from that dealer on Saturday. On Sunday, he was driving on the expressway, and his drive axle literally fell out of the vehicle. It ended up on the side of the road. He went and picked it up, threw it in the back, got towed back to the dealership. This was on Sunday. Of course, they were closed. On Monday, he goes back, talks to the manager, and says, hey, what are you going to do about this? The manager pulled out his deal jacket, pulled out his as-is agreement, and said, hey, you bought this on Saturday, and you knew it was as-is. We're not doing nothing for you. And they were pretty blunt about it. Now, I think that's awful. I'll tell you what, the young person who was trading his truck in at Frontier Motors on Monday thought the same thing. And he says, I'll tell you what, I'm never, ever going to go back to that dealership to look at a car. And I'll tell you, if anybody asks me where not to go, I'm definitely going to mention that dealership. Just by doing something that simple. Now, they don't necessarily have to pay for the whole thing. Even with Frontier Motors, we would have. I would have felt so bad. I would have just said, hey, here's a rental car. I'm going to pay for the whole thing. And number one, you'd have a warranty anyways. But I would just feel so bad that happened, that he'd be taken care of. This dealership didn't care. This dealership felt there are enough people in Pensacola that they could do without him. Well, guess what, folks? It's a small town, as you all know. I think there's around 58 or 59,000 people live in the city proper. There's about 300,000 to 400,000 that live in the surrounding counties. It's a lot smaller than it seems because people will talk. And you know what this telephone does? It's got this thing called Facebook. You know, that's the first place somebody goes to. They go to Twitter. They go to Facebook. They do posts. They talk about that dealer, and the word gets out. Don't go to that dealership. So, folks, if you're going to buy a car, don't buy it as is. If you're going to do business with a dealer, talk to your friends and neighbors and relatives and get testimonials from dealers. Are they a good dealer? Are they a bad dealer? Do they help you after the sale, or do they just tell you to go pound sand because you bought the car as is? Number one, don't buy it like that. But Frontier Motors is the place to go to for advice. And we've been talking about, you'll notice I'm not talking about a single car here. We're not talking about we've got a $10,000 discount on pickup trucks, or you can get one for $299. I'm not talking about, well, I was talking about the guy that's got the billboard on I-10 that says you can buy a used Sonata for $12,888. By the way, it's not Alan Turner. Alan Turner's a great dealer. But they got a used Sonata. A new car dealership has a billboard on a used Sonata, and there's no disclaimer. The reason I bring this up on every show that I do is because I'm challenging someone out there. By the way, it's a great deal. If you can buy a 2015 Sonata, as long as it's got less than 50,000 miles on it, which means it's still under warranty, because Sonatas have warranties up to 60,000 miles. So if you can buy that car, if it's got 50,000 miles on it, that's a great deal. Make sure they sell it to you for that price out the door. The reason I bring this up all the time, because there's no disclaimer, which means it doesn't say plus tax, title, doc fee, license plate, all the garbage fees that they plug in there. You know, dealers, they'll have $2,000 worth of fees. So make sure they sell it to you for $12,888. It's a great deal. But what I want to get out there, folks, get the word out there, is do business with reputable dealers. And there are reputable dealers in Pensacola. Last time I added up, I get the registration reports. Last time I added up in 2 counties, Santa Rosa and Escambia County, there was 103 used car dealers, 103, and there's 23 new car dealers. That's a lot of dealerships that you can go to. Some are really, really, really bad. And some of them are really, really, really good, like anything else out there. I don't care if you're talking about attorneys, if you're talking about bankers, or you're talking about anybody. There's always some good ones and some bad ones. Stay away from the bad ones. I don't go car shopping, so all the information I'm talking about here, I get from my customers. I come in and they tell me their stories, and I like listening to them. I love the car stories. I love the ones about they wouldn't give me my keys back, so I couldn't leave. Or they said they didn't have, the Carfax was clean, but they never showed me the Carfax. I had 2 appraisals 2 weeks ago that I did for customers. They were appraising their cars, and they found out things on the Carfax report they didn't know. One of them had a salvage title they didn't know about. So those are things that we help with at Frontier Motors, and you don't want to do it after the fact. Don't call me after you buy a car asking me if it was a good deal. I want you to call before you buy the car. And don't tell me what the dealer or private individual is asking for the car. I'm going to tell you this is what I can sell you a car just like that for. And sometimes we even have the car in stock, where I can look at my computer and say, yes, I have a 2015 Altima. And you're looking at one over at another dealership that's got 3,000 miles. I've got one on the lot. It's got 990 miles on it. And I have it on the internet for $19,950. And I can discount another $800. That's how easy it is. So I can sell you one with 900 miles for $19,100. So if you can buy that car in that price range, it's a pretty good deal. But if they're asking $22,000, well, guess what? That's too much. I've got a Hyundai Sonata with 1,000 miles on. We have a Santa Fe on the lot with 1,000 miles, a Dodge Challenger with 1,600 miles, a Honda CR-V Touring, which is their top of the line with navigation, with 2,000 miles on. We have a Cadillac ATS 2-door sports coupe. They just came out with those last year. It's got 2,500 miles on. We have a Nissan NV cargo van high top. It's got 2,000 miles on. The list goes on and on of the types of cars that Frontier Motors stocks, because I would consider us the alternative to new. So if you're going to buy a brand new car, Consumers Reports finally put into writing what we've been talking about for 19 years. Consumers Reports last April, on page 21 in their April edition, said that the average selling price of a car last year, brand new, was $34,000. I was kind of shocked because I thought it was more than that. But that's the average. First year depreciation is 27%, which equates into $9,180 reduction in value in year one. So that means if you bought the car last year and you brought it to a dealer this year, your appraisal would be an average $9,200 less than what you paid for it last year. If you wait to next year, it goes down $12,600. If you wait the year after that, it's $15,600 loss. And if you wait 4 years, just 4 years, that new car depreciates 56%. Total value lost is $19,040. Why would you buy a new one unless you won the lottery? Why wouldn't you buy one of these cars like the Grand Caravan I've got on the lot with 150 miles on it that I might not be able to save you $9,200 on, but I know I can save you $5,000. It's got 150 miles on it. And you know if you pay $5,000 less, you also pay 7.5% less taxes on that $5,000 saving. That's going to save you another $350 about. These are things I'm talking about. If you decide to buy that brand new car, which last year a record 17.5 million people did, they said, forget about Frontier Motors, I'm buying brand new. So if you do decide to buy brand new, you still stop at Frontier Motors to get that car of yours appraised. Wouldn't it be nice to have a second opinion other than Edmunds or the Kelley Blue Book? You know, you Google your price. How do you know those prices are right? How do you know this NEDA book's right? You don't. You get a real value from Frontier Motors on the value of your trade-in before you go buy new. So if you're going to go buy a brand new Honda or a brand new Toyota, whatever, 23 new car dealers in Pensacola, you stop at Frontier Motors and get an appraisal on your car. And then you negotiate your best possible deal at wherever you decide to buy the car, get the best deal, the best discount, the best rebate that you qualify for, and then toss them the keys for the car and find out what are they going to give you wholesale after that deal has been done. And you'll find out if the appraisal is right on or not. And sometimes you'll find out the appraisal can be as much as a $3,000 or $4,000 difference from one deal. Now, that's extreme. I would say the average appraisal difference from dealer to dealer might be $1,000 or $1,500, which in my book is still a lot of money. So I'm giving you $15,000, the other dealership's giving you $13,500. That's a pretty good difference, isn't it? Might be enough for you to sell me the car and go buy the other car that you want without the trade-in, or trade it in at that dealership and I'll buy it right from the dealer. A lot of times what it does, it forces that dealership just to give you a higher appraisal because they still want to keep the car. Don't forget the used car manager's job at the new car dealership. The used car manager's job is to get your car as cheap as possible because that's how they get paid. So you can't get mad at them if they give you a lower appraisal. All you have to do is pull out the appraisal from Frontier Motors, say, wait a minute, I was just at Frontier Motors. They said my car's worth $15,000. You're giving me $13,500 and I'm not even buying a car from them. I'm buying a brand new one from you. If anything, you should give me $16,000 because I'm buying a car from you. And they really should. Don't you think the dealer you're doing business with should give you a little bit more money than the dealer that you're not doing business with? And how do you know what that figure is? Unless you stop at Frontier Motors at 230 Beverly Parkway. Let's talk about what's going on in the industry a little bit. I got this new thing here called Automotive News. It's a magazine that we get in the auto industry. And they have a report. The J.D. Power's initial quality report said that the number one car for quality is a Kia. I bet you didn't know that. Last year, they were ranked number 2. The year before, they were ranked number 6. Porsche, which was ranked number 1 last year, is number 2 this year. Hyundai, which owns a portion of Kia. I don't know if you know that or not. They're kind of kissing cousins. They own each other somehow. I think Hyundai owns like 20 or 30% of Kia. Hyundai is number 3. Good for Alan Turner and for Pensacola Kia. If they have a car that's actually rated higher right now in initial quality, which means I think in the first year of ownership, than even Lexus. Lexus, which I always talk about, used to be number 1 in 2012, dropped to number 3 in 2013, and this year they're number 7. Lincoln's number 8. Nissan's number 10. Ford is number 11. GMC is number 12. Mercedes-Benz is number 16. Mazda, it's way on the bottom. Conflicting reports with Mazda. There's a difference in initial quality and a 3-year quality. There's lots of different reports out there. I was talking about Lexus because Lexus did win the Best Reliable Car Award last year. I believe that went back 5 years. In initial quality, they're saying 7 years, which means that, it goes back 1 year, which means that when you take one home, they got a couple little things that you have to get fixed, which is kind of a pain in the butt if you're buying a Lexus brand new, because you got to go back to Lexus of Mobile. I saw that Lincoln is doing something that nobody has done before. When you buy a 2017 Lincoln and you need service done, they bring you a loaner to the house. They take your car in to get it serviced, then they bring it back to you. How novel of an idea is that? No charge. Even for an oil change, for any type of service work, they bring you a car. Isn't that cool? That's the biggest headache ever when you buy a car, especially when something goes wrong. We're talking about they'll do it for anything that goes wrong with the car while it's under warranty. By the way, the Lincoln warranty is 4 years, 50,000 miles. And that program they have is for that warranty time frame. But it's not just in case something breaks. It's also for oil changes, tire rotations, normal stuff that you need to do. I hope that transfers into other makes and models. I know BMW had maintenance included in their sales and transferred over to the used. Now they only give it to a new car. If you buy it new, they don't give it to you used. Frontier Motors, 230 Beverly Parkway. We've been here for going on 20 years. We've got 407 cars in inventory. We're the place to go to if you want a no-hassle buying experience, which means that we're not going to ask stupid questions like, what do you want for your car? How much do you want to pay for ours? What do you want your payments to be? Those are things that I think we should tell you when you come and pick out a car. I think it's our job as a dealer to say, this is what I'm asking for my car. I tell you what, I got a little bit of flexibility. Here's what I can discount it to. And by the way, here's what I can give you for your trade-in. And then here's your out-the-door figure. And let me put that in writing and sign it and give it to you. And guess what? You can buy the car whenever you want. You don't have to buy it today. How novel is that? Instead of the old squeezing play. You know how they do that? What if I do this, would you buy today? What if I do this, will you buy? What if I give you oil changes for life? Will you buy it right now? To me, that's not the way you sell cars. And it's really put us on the map because 70% of our customers are repeat and referral, which is unheard of in the used car industry because you can buy a used car anywhere. Why do people come back to Frontier Motors year after year? Because they like the experience. They like the way we do business. And they like the fact that we have a product that when we put it on our lot, that it doesn't smell. There's no nicks or scratches. That it has a warranty on it. That the car is in really good mechanical condition. If it's not, we're not going to buy it. Or if it needs some tender loving care, we're going to make sure that we take care of it. And that's what we've been doing. This November is going to be 20 years. We started out with 30 cars. We have 407 inventory. We have a great finance department that we can be just about anybody's financing in town. Most people that come into dealership, they're going to get the money where they can get it on the best price, the best interest rate and the best terms. And people are always pleasantly surprised that they end up financing through Frontier because we have bankers that just do car loans. So that's what they cater to. They're the best at it. We have warranties on our cars, like I said before. Anything that's a 2007 or above, you're going to get a 5-year, 100,000-mile drivetrain warranty. Anything older than that, you're going to get a 3-month warranty. Anything that's an antique, for example, I'll give you a 1-month warranty. So don't buy from a dealer that doesn't give you a warranty. Anybody that needs advice on what to pay for a car, tell them to go to Frontier Motors. We're not going to kink their deal. We're going to make sure they don't get ripped off. That's what we're all about. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching. Have a great day. Auf Wiedersehen.
Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.